Okay, so previously we have studied about the confidentiality, integrity, and availability part. These are referred to as security policies or sorry, security standards, you can say, or security services. Okay, so these are the most important security services that are needed. That is, confidentiality means that no one is able to say what actually is contained in the file. Okay, it means if you're sending a message to any other person, that particular message should not be interpreted by any one of the third party. Okay, it means that whenever you're sending any kind of a message, if anybody is able to intercept that message, he or she should not be able to understand what is written in that message for confidentiality part. Okay, so it means that highly secret information that you want to give. And the second part is your integrity. Integrity means that you have to perform two checks, that a particular message came from a authorized person. It means if you're sending a message to a bank, the bank should be able to verify that it is you that sent the message. Another thing is that the contents of the message should not be changed. Okay, so we have studied that. Another thing that we have studied is your availability. Availability means that most of the time, whenever you are trying to access a server, that server should be always online. Okay, so is the meaning of it, that if you are accessing any websites, that particular website should be available all the time. Okay, so if there are three main tasks. Okay, so if you are setting up a server also, that particular server should be available 24/7. Okay, so there are different techniques that exist there to implement this, and we have seen that why important CIA trade is very important. Okay, so integrity can be make ensure by something called cryptography checksum or non-repudiation. Okay, so non-repudiation is to verify that a particular message is sent by a particular person. Okay, so it means that it is easily be able to, you can easily be able to verify this with the help of a digital signature. Okay, another thing is that we have seen availability. Availability, I already told you that if you have facing a natural disaster there, so for natural disaster, you have to keep the backup of your server. Okay, it means if your server is particularly damaged, you already have a backup and you can ready to move on to the next one. Okay, so that can be done with the help of RAID services. RAID is this one. You are keeping RAID disk over and over, the redundancy of the part, and you can take out the data and you put it in another server, and that particular server is on the go. Okay, so it is always all ready to go online. Okay, so that can be there. Another thing is that you can use a distributed service. It means that if your server is being down, you can route the traffic to your new server. Okay, so that can also happen. Okay, now what are the special challenges that are being faced in the CIA trade? Again, I'm stressing this point that these are not the only three trades that are being used, but these are the most important ones. Okay, so if you are building any security service, if you are building any security application, you have to make sure that these three trades are the first three that should exist in your software or in your system. Okay, so if you're seeing here that nowadays the data is becoming big and big. Now, if you're seeing here from 1990s, the companies started capturing data. The companies like Google and Microsoft, they start capturing user data. Now, at that time, they are aware that there is no technology exist that can make sense of the data. Okay, because most of the data is unstructured. Unstructured means that there is no proper structure to the data. So whatever the user is doing, they are just storing it in plain text or whatever information. They are not making sense to humans, but they are just storing for the sake of it, that in the coming time there will be big data tools that will come there. So by the help of those tools, we can be able to structure this data. Okay, so Google was the first company that started doing this. And now if you're seeing here, if you're seeing here, there is a, what you say, security shift. Okay, so most of the companies are capturing data on users, because you can see nowadays the data is the new oil. Now because there are so many users on the internet, you have to store sheer volume of information, and that information have to be kept, what you say, safe. Okay, so already seen there that you most of the time people use Google Chrome, and they used to store their password on Google Chrome. Okay, so Google Chrome has to safeguard that particular password that is being stored by the user, but they are not, mostly they are not able to do it because uh, the security services that are being used by the Google Chrome is not up to the standard. Okay, because they give you always the message that you should not store your password, and there is a data breach that happened there, so you should update your password, that kind of thing. They are not giving many much what do you say, they are not giving very much, they are not spending high amount of money on securing the passwords of the users. Okay, so this is one thing that we, because Google is only concerned whatever they are storing on their servers, they are not actually concerned with that these little things that the users are storing password, because passwords can later be updated, but the data that is being stored on the users is gold for Google, because they are developing many machine learning model or natural language processing models that are of high accuracy, because the data that the Google have does do not have any other company do not have that kind of data. Okay, so that is why if you're seeing here the near there every time the new natural language processing model comes, the accuracy of Google natural language processing models are always higher, because they have a large amount of data that is already present there, and they are keeping those data so that they can make these their machine learning models and deep learning models very much high accuracy. Those models can generate very high accuracy. Okay, so you already seen that previously. I think there was another model came that is a transformer model of Google, that is again of Google, and it again scored the highest accuracy that you can find in natural language processing. Okay, so if you're seeing here, because of the data that is getting big and big nowadays, we need that we need to safeguard that data. First thing is that, okay, you need to safeguard that data. Another thing is that every particular company, okay, every particular company try to, what you say, keep information on you so that they can extensively verify on you on the internet. Okay, so what I mean is that, so I'm saying that most of your uh, website, most of your WhatsApp is, what they say is that they say end-to-end encrypted. Okay, so what it means is that whatever the message, whatever you are sending on WhatsApp, no third party is able to see it. Okay, only the sender and the receiver can able to see the message between these two persons. Okay, so if anybody tries to intercept in between, they will never be able to break that kind of encryption, because WhatsApp servers all also don't know how to what are they actually doing. Okay, so it means that the company Facebook do not actually know that they cannot verify a particular person on the internet. Okay, it means on the internet means that they cannot identify that this particular person lives in any Delhi, and he or she is able to access these part based on the chatting that you're doing, because it is end-to-end encrypted. Okay, so end-to-end encrypted. Okay, so again, if you're seeing here, this model does not generate any kind of a revenue. If you're seeing here, uh, this particular end-to-end encryption do not generate any kind of a revenue, because they are providing security to their users. Okay, so when they are providing security to the users, it means that anybody's who is intercepting the message, he or she will never be able to break it, because there is standard encryption is being set there. So that is why it's set end-to-end encryption. Okay, so nobody is able to crack that what are the messages that you're sending to a person. Okay, but that also makes that Facebook or the company WhatsApp will never be able to identify that you are interested in this particular what you say you are interested in this product. Okay, so what do you mean? If you are sending a link of any kind of what do you say, of any kind of a shirt on WhatsApp, they will not be able to see this particular link. Okay, so the company will not be able to see, and they will not be able to target. Okay, but that is totally opposite in the case of Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so whatever you're sending, whatever you're speaking, they are listening to it and they are providing you relevant ads. Okay, so again, nobody is wanting that kind of privacy that is being given to users. Okay, so WhatsApp also tries, what WhatsApp or Facebook is also trying to not give you this end-to-end encryption, but this is not happening because there are other services, other particular messaging services that are providing end-to-end encryption. Okay, so they are afraid because they have tried to end this end-to-end encryption between a user and a business. Okay, so previously there was a policy update, uh, I think in 2 or 3 months back in the previous year, that they said they are updating the policy. In that policy, the businesses to user chat is not end-to-end encrypted. Okay, but there was a big backlash, and most of the most of the users started shifting towards other messaging services like Signal and other things. So they revised this standard and they are not doing it. Now they are asking you every time you open the screen that you agree with their privacy policy. If you are agreeing with their privacy policy, only then they can see your messages. Otherwise, they are not able to see any messages. Okay, this is only for businesses. Okay, so there are business accounts that exist on WhatsApps. Okay, so we're seeing here, if you are providing some kind of a security to the users, so this particular application providing a security means that they're providing confidentiality. Previously they are providing confidentiality. So if they are providing confidentiality, it means that the provider or the server will also not get anything in return. Okay, so they cannot be able to monetize that service. Okay, so now if you're seeing here that these are the big challenges that you are seeing. So the companies want that we will be able to locate you on the internet, but the users want that we will be secure, we will be private. We do not want to be located on any kind of internet. Okay, so these are two basically different things. Okay, so again they are planning nowadays they are also planning that everything should be automatic. Okay, so there should be no human intervention, so that it will be a different thing. I'll tell you about it. Okay, another thing is that you have to keep a duplicate data sets. I already said that you have to keep RAID drives and other things, because your data is so much high, your data is already so much high. Okay, because we are collecting, every company is collecting each and every bit of your data. It is already very what do you say, it's a huge amount of data, and you are again storing this data on any other RAID service, or you are storing this data on a distributed server. Okay, so if you're saying these are very high cost. Okay, so it's a very high cost to keep this data on 2-3 places, because if you're keeping the data on 2-3 places, you also have to secure, you also have to purchase the security that is related to those particular what do you say, those particular servers. Okay, so most of the time nowadays we are shifting towards cloud, and now cloud again, they provide basic security, but again they do not provide any kind of extensive security. Okay, so that is why cloud security is also uh, one of the jobs that is in demand right now. Okay, so the cloud services they can provide you, because if you are working in a company, you can purchase the space on cloud, and cloud infrastructure will provide you basic security. Okay, so they can only provide you basic security, because depending upon the company, the security standard will be different. Okay, so they are providing only platforms, they are only providing platforms such that the engineers can automatically configure it. Okay, so that is why the clouds are being flexible. So to configure these platform, they again need a security engineers. Okay, so that is why the job of cloud security is in demand, is very much in demand. Okay, so again, because of these platform, the cloud platform are only using the basic security that is being provided by the cloud standards. So they are not up to the mark. Okay, so anybody, if they are using some basic cryptography breaking hacking technologies, they can easily break into the data that is being stored on the platform. Okay, so again, to use those security services on the cloud, again it brings it to a high cost service. Okay, so most of the time companies try to keep that data on their company servers, but whenever you're doing when you're doing when you're storing the data on cloud, it you have to do a little bit of more security that is being done in the company servers. Okay, so that is why most of the companies right now are unwilling to shift to the cloud because of the security standard. But right now the security standards are now being set very high in the cloud, but still there are many works that is being needed to be done in this part. Okay, so most of the time you will be seeing the confidential information that is related to company or company secret, that will always be kept on the company's private server. Okay, so they will not try to give that information on a cloud, because who take the responsibility if there is a security break-in. Okay, so that is another thing. I'll save that for another time. Okay, another thing is like whistleblower. You may have heard the name of Edward Snowden. They have brought the problem that most of the data, there are there are big databases that are being kept on the citizens of mostly it was NSA that conducted it. But again, it is not only NSA, but many of the countries are keeping a massive volumes of data of on their citizens, so they can predict that what these person will like, and which there are many what you say, there are many particular applications of this data. Okay, so if you will see the documentary of Edward Snowden, you will get to know that they are actually labeling those person that if that can do a certain number of things. Okay, so they are again labeling those person that can be violent. They can labeling those persons that can vote to a particular political party. Okay, so the data, again I'm saying, is the new oil. And again, if you are keeping the data on the citizens, again it is a right to privacy that comes under it. So there is no right to privacy law in India. Again, if you're seeing here, the security standards of Aadhaar card, that the storage, the details that are stored, our details that are stored in the servers, that are not, again, not up to the standards. Okay, so most of the time you can easily break the security standard where our data is being stored. Okay, so the misuse of data is very high in our case, or because the security standards are not set to that part. Okay, so it should be confidential. Okay, so everything that NSA, but it should not be there, that there should not be a common server that where the data should be kept, and everything should be what you say, properly secure. Okay, so if you are securing the data to implement schemes in a big country like India, like Aadhaar that we already know, so you have to keep the data on secured servers, so that if anybody tries to attack it, there should be a proper security mechanism that is being placed, so that those attacks can be uh, nullified. Okay, another thing is that because of the rising Internet of Things, so we again have to do, because if you're seeing Internet of Things means that you will have a IoT device, and these IoT devices, most of the time, if they are sending their information to cloud, again there is again a basic security that will be provided with the cloud. But again, these cloud services provides a platform, so that platform can be only configured by the security engineer to enhance the security. Okay, so again it will take a lot of cost, it is high cost, but if you're able to set it, you can do it. Okay, so because we are moving towards with newer technologies, so these technologies also required a set of security standards that need to be set. Okay, so every thing that you're seeing here, the CIA standard is not particularly set in Internet of Things, because of the way that this particular techniques work. Okay, so IoT devices, they do not have what you say, a very much high processing power on their devices, because IoT devices are mostly like Raspberry Pi and other things, so they do not have that much processing power so that they can implement the security principle on board. Okay, so to solve this thing, there are many techniques that are being there, but still they are not up to that standard that we want. Okay, so these are the special challenges that we are facing that in the CIA part. Okay, so another thing is that Internet of Things security. You can read about it, and again a little bit of thing that is being written. Okay, best practices that you can see for implementing the CIA trade that we already have studied, that data should be encrypted using two-factor authentication. The data should be handled based on organization required privacy. Another thing is keep access list. Okay, access control list meant that uh, that suppose if you are in a company, you are a manager, you will be able to see the data of only yourself and your employees. Okay, so whatever is under your okay, so it means if a manager is managing 100 employees, he will or she will be able to see the data of only those 100 employees. Okay, so it's not like that he or she will be able to see the data of all the employees, only this manager is managing. Okay, this is referred to as access list, so the employees will not be able to see the data of manager. Okay, so these kind of access control list should be there to in order to ensure the confidentiality part. Another thing is integrity. I think we have already seen that you can do a little bit of digital signature, uh, do you can do a checksum and other things to do it. Okay, another thing is availability. You can use a RAID server, and you can use network or service monitoring system. Like you can create, you can see that the upcoming traffic, you can put intrusion detection system, that if anybody that if from a particular device 100 or 200 requests are coming, so the intrusion detection can easily detect it, and prevention system can easily block that device. Okay, so it is all the things happens automatically. Okay, again ensure a data recovery and business continuity part. With it, these are the main services that we have seen, that is CIA: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Apart from it, there are other services, that is authentication, access control, and non-repudiation. Okay. So what are these services? Authentication, I think you already know about this. Just wait 1 second. Just wait 1 second. Okay. Okay. So authentication is that the assurance that the communicating entity is the one who it claims to be. Okay, so it means that you will be given a username and password. Okay, so whenever you are entering that username and password, I'm making sure that this is a person. Okay, so it means that this is a person, and I'm not concerned that if anybody is able to get your username and password, he or she is able to getting your information, or you are logging in or seeing your information. I'm not concerned with that. Okay, so if anybody is able to get your password, the password is your responsibility. Okay, authentication is based on this part. Okay, so if you are entered the username and password, I will say that it is you. I cannot say that it is other person. Maybe it can be other person. Like if you are giving a ATM to your spouse or your brother and sister, and you are giving it a pin. Okay, so whenever you are using that ATM account, the bank will say that it is you. Okay, so it will not consider that it is your brother and sister. They will only say, because the person knows the pin, that this pin is allotted to this particular customer, so they will only say that this is you. Okay, so they are not concerned with how this password can be given to other ones, so they are only concerned with that you are keeping the password and username confidential to only to yourself. Okay, this is authentication. Another thing is that access control. So access control, I have already given you a little bit of glimpse that you can prevent, there is a prevention of unauthorized entities. Okay, so access control can be listed like this. Okay, prevention of unauthorized use of resources. Okay, you can say that use of resources. Okay, it means that you are setting that you are giving a little bit of access control. You are not giving everything to every user. Okay, so if you're in an organization, if you are first level employee, then there is a second level employee, and then there is third level employee. Based on the level of the employee, you are providing the access to your company's server. Okay, so if you are providing if you are providing access, uh, if you are providing the access to all the users, there will be a lot of damage that can be done, because with the increasing in the level, the responsibility of that person increases. Okay, so it means that if this person is given a username and password, and that username password is used by any other person, suppose the username and password is known by third party. Okay, so if that username and password is known by third party, and it is able to get the control of this, it's able to get inside the server of the company, and it is able to get the information. So the responsibility will be of this employee, this one. Okay, suppose this is B employee. The responsibility of will be of this employee, and he or she can be punished based on any kind of a law. Okay, that is why access control, whenever you are in a company and you are sitting on a highest position, the responsibility will increase by the levels. Okay, another thing is non-repudiation. Okay, so it provides protection against denial. Okay, so I'll say you, it provides protection against denial. Okay, so again, it is these particular standards are somewhat given in CIA, but these are also set apart. Okay, so they can also be studied apart. Okay, so because they are again very much important, most of the standards are being there in CIA, but still they are extensively studied separately, and they are again given by every other security services, that the security engineers have to implement these particular services as well. Okay, so what is meaning of provide protection against denial? It means that whenever, the same example, then if a person is sending 100 rupees to B, after that he or she will say that I have not sent. Okay, I have not sent 100 rupees to B, my account is being hacked. Okay, so to verify that this particular sum of rupees is sent by this person, we will need something called a digital signature. Okay, so digital signature will only be generated with the help of the private key of the center. Okay, and it will be combined with the machine address and other things. Okay, so that they can easily identify that this particular person has sent this. Okay, so you already know the mechanism of digital signature. Okay, so now if this person says that I do not send 100 rupees to this person, it can easily be verified with the help of a digital signature. Okay, so that is, these are three other security services that are also very important. They are already there in CIA, but again, they are not extensively implemented. Okay, that is why I've separately written it, that you or other security engineers also see these services were being implemented accordingly. Okay, so with this, your CIA trades and all the implementation of CIA is being done. So just a little bit of are there. So just answer these questions. So the first one is, according to CIA trade, which of the below mentioned element is not considered in the trade? Okay, so post your answers on your chat boxes. Okay. Just wait 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Okay. So the answer is authenticity. That is correct. Okay. So well done. Now see the next question. CIA trade is also known as NIC, AIC, AIN, AIC. So I told you in the first one that to avoid the confusion with the Central Intelligence Agency, they are using. Okay, that is absolutely correct. That is uh, what is that? AIC, availability, integrity, and confidentiality. Yeah. Okay. So it is B, AIC. Okay. Now see this one. When you use the word dash, it means that you are protecting your data from getting disclosed. Your data. Either it is confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and availability. You can easily answer it. Okay. Confidentiality or integrity or authentication. Authentication means that that it is you that access a particular account. Availability, that your server should be available all the time. Integrity is that a particular information that is being sent should be correct and from a particular user. Okay. Another confidentiality means that it is not seen by any other one. Okay. Is it A or B? Is it A? A. Absolutely correct. Okay. So confidentiality means that if anybody is able to intercept the message, he or she will not be able to tell you, he or she will not be able to see what is stored in the message. Okay. Similarly, see this one. Dash means the protection of data from modification by unknown users. Okay. I think you know this one, modification. Yeah, absolutely correct. Okay. So it is B. Okay, integrity. Okay, so you remember it. The first one is non-repudiation is also implemented in this one. It means that you can verify that it is being sent by a particular person with the help of a digital signature. Another thing is that you have to make sure that your data is being protected. It is implemented with the help of cryptographic checksums. Okay, integrity. And integrity is lacking in a security system, dash occurs. Is it database hacking, database deletion, database tampering, data tampering, or data leakage? Yes, absolutely correct. It is data tampering. Okay, so when the integrity is not there, the main task of integrity is that the information should not be modified. Okay, so the information should not be modified. If you're tampering with the information is modified. So tampering is also referred to as modification. That absolutely correct. Good. Okay. Now the next one is dash of information means only authorized users are capable of accessing the information. Confidentiality, integrity, availability, and non-repudiation. Okay. Only authorized users are capable of accessing the information. Okay. So in non-repudiation means it will be that it is only you. Okay. It means that it is only you that have access that part. Confidentiality means that you have to keep your data confidential. Integrity means that your data should not be what you say uh, tempered. Availability, you can say that only authorized information can be accessed, or it is non-repudiation. Okay, so it is availability. Okay, so if you're making sure that only authorized users are capable of accessing the information, the availability part will always be there, because if unauthorized access is being given, so that the unauthorized users can generate a lot of traffic. Okay, so that can easily disable, can easily jeopardize the availability of the server. Okay. Another thing is that helps in identify the origin of information and authentic user. Okay. So this referred to as, yeah, I think you're right. Okay. It is, okay. So it will say that a particular if this information is sent by a particular user. This is it. Uh, so we have completed the CIA trade. Now only these little things are being left. Okay. So in the next lecture, I will cover this part. Let me show you uh, TCP header part. Okay. So there is one thing that is a Linux vulnerability in TCP SAC. Okay. So I have to tell you about how this TCP header work, because there are also vulnerabilities that will be there. So I have to tell you about how TCP works on machines and what is a TCP SAC and how the acknowledgements on the system work. Okay. When I tell you these three terms that how it works, it will take a little bit of time because I have to explain you that how the three-way handshake being is set up, three-way handshake in TCP setup. After that, I also have to tell you that data transfer between a sender and a receiver when a three-way handshake is set up. And also have to tell you about connection termination. Okay. So I also have to tell, after that, I have to tell you that where the vulnerability lies and what are the things that is being done to control that vulnerability. Okay, so TCP IP vulnerability was from Linux operating system. It was recently, the most recent one was in 2019, and that particular vulnerability has been patched. Okay, so they have given a patch update and now it is patched. Okay, so I'll also show you. Now you will not be able to see that particular vulnerability on Linux system, but in 2015 and 16, it was one of the major, what do you say, vulnerability that lies in the Linux operating system, that you are giving a TCP traffic, you are establishing a three-way handshake, and after that you are gaining the access of the device by using this TCP IP attacks. Okay, so now it is pretty much very secure. It's very difficult to crack or get into the TCP IP server. But still, I'll show you that in 2019, what was the actual vulnerability. Okay. So before it, there are some security policies. Most of the policy that you will already know. I will go through it in the next one. So these are general security policies, generic. Okay. So if you are setting up a security companies, what are the security policies that you have to keep in mind? These are most general 14 generic security policies that has to be set up in a workplace. Okay, so it is not more than that. I'll talk about it. It can only be done in like 10 to 20 minutes because most of the policies you already know. Okay, so after that I'll move with this one. Okay, so I'll any doubt till here about anything? Okay. So you can move on to the next one and